Okay, I'm out again to introduce my latest topic for this episode. I think it's episode 6 or 7. We're going to be shooting at the Cochrane Show and Shine, which is a bunch of vintage cars. It's a really big gathering of vintage cars. And I'm not so much interested in the cars per se, but I love all the parts of them, the engines. I'll get some close-up shots. I'll get some street photography in and around the event. And I'll probably get a couple of the older, cooler vintage ones. I'm here with my dog. If you hear clicking along, my dog clicking and jangling, it's my dog, Ray. She's down here. And so that's going to be the topic. That's this weekend's pick. And then I'll either edit them or share them with you, or we'll see how it goes. Anyways, hope that sounds good. We'll see you in the vid. Oh, and by the way, is it cool to be wearing sunglasses on a sunny day like this? Kind of feel it's a bit impersonal, but the sun's in my eyes, so hope you can forgive that. You'll see my full features later on, and I'm sure you can't wait. I'll catch you later. Okay, I am here to do the start of the video stuff today. I'm doing some editing this time in Lightroom Classic. I'm just going to be going through sort of generally the shots here, and I'll do some tidy up in Photoshop later. And I'm just going to show you the sorts of pics that I selected, and then I'll only be concentrating on a few of them to highlight to you, because you don't need to see, 15 editing processes. That'd be like a 3-hour long video. So anyways, we're going to have a look at these images from the car show, and I've split it up into 3 different sections, if you will. The first section is cars, of course, and vintage vehicles. The second is some street photography from the event, so catching some characters that were there. The third is a sort of a different kind of look at, there's this YouTuber that I like called Andrew Banner, and he's a photographer in the UK, and he was on the East Coast, sort of, I don't know, Norfolk, is that right? I don't know, maybe that's not right, but on the East Coast of the UK, and he has a YouTube channel, and he's a photographer, and he takes pictures of landscape. He takes macro photography. He takes, architectural photography and street photography and all sorts. And I heard him use a phrase, observational photographer, and I kind of thought, well, that kind of hit something within me, because I used to think, well, I'm a landscape photographer, maybe with a specialism in forest photography, being here in Canada. And when he kind of said that, I kind of thought, so you're allowed to just do any kind of photography you want. Why would I limit myself? And there's all these other kinds of photography that I like. So that's how I started following him. And then one of his not too unrecent videos, he did he went to a car show himself in the UK, and he wasn't so much interested in the cars. I think he says that in his video, and I'll try and link to the videos, and I'll share his channel info and all that with you. He took pictures of the seams at some of the design elements of the cars, and I just really appreciate it. Even though, that's not necessarily what I was into, I really appreciated how he was looking at something with different eyes and doing it really well. So I kind of had a bit of a go at that. There's some elements that I already did with cars like that. I don't sort of necessarily focus, no pun intended, focus in on the car, and I'll do the hood ornaments or something. I love nice chrome hood ornaments. But anyways, I did take a couple of shots in his vein of design elements, and I'll show you what I mean later on. Anyway, so let's get on with those categories. And the first up to bat is a 57 Chevy. Okay, so here's this Chevy, and I'm going to just prep it. Oh, I'm not even in develop, so I'm in Lightroom Classic. So yeah, I've set it to my camera profile, and then the exposure I think is fine. Um, let's just One of the things I like about I'll just show you quick. One of the things I like about Lightroom Classic is if you just click on the button there on the right, and then um, you can hit the up and down arrow, and it goes up by increments of 5. And I think if you hold Shift, it will go up by 10. So I usually go to 10 for that one. It's just a nice little jump rather than sliding it up. If you like it, if you like to use hotkeys a little bit more, it's not really hotkey, but it's not necessarily as fiddly as dragging your mouse. So there, I kept the exposure the same. I increased the contrast a tiny little bit. I reduced highlights quite a lot. I whacked up the shadows and down with the blacks. So that's what I did there. Let's denoise. That'll take a few minutes. I'll edit that down. And then let's go to the lens correction, which will correct for my specific camera lens. You can see here it says Canon EF24 to 105 millimeter. And then I don't know. Should we try it? This is a lens blur. It's going to analyze and take quite a while, so I'll cut that down. Yeah, so let's look at the visual. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it. Visualize depth. Let's click that. And there we go. It shows you the areas that it's concentrating on, and it's perfect. It gives you a nice visual cue of what you're doing. So I think that's pretty handy. And then it's given a nice little blur to the background a little bit. And I think that's probably as far as I'm going to go with this one. I'll pull it into Photoshop later, and I'm going to get rid of this this ticket here, and I'll make some other changes and do some sharpening and stuff like that. Oh, one thing I will do while I'm here is I'm going to use the angle tool, pick out a line that's nice and horizontal, and then it will fix the well, you'll see. There, it just tweaked it a little bit. Okay, and I like that. The next time you'll see that, I'll pull it up in Photoshop. Okay, here's this guy. I think you probably remember me working on this one. I think I'll go in and do some of those erasing changes and some of the blurring work that I mentioned that I was going to do. So let's have a look. First of all, this guy. We know this is going to work really nicely because we did this with the other one. I'm going to break it up into 2 because it doesn't need to go through the whole thing on this one. All right, let's see what happens. Remove. It's pretty perfect. I mean, it's still got this bit here, but I think, when you're looking overall at it, you're not going to notice that. So let's do the old Control-Alt-E and have a look at that. That's looking good. I think I'm going to use the subject select, and I'm going to just refine that a bit, and then we're going to inverse that, and then we're going to blur. This is a pretty manual way to blur. I'm not suggesting this is the best way to do it, but this gives me super control. There's lots of ways to do things. Let's hide the marquee, and I'll try and remember that I've hidden it. And yeah, I mean, this isn't great because I don't love this guy in here. But other than that, it's pretty good. Now we're going to inverse that again, and I'm just going to actually sharpen the car. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's fine. Makes that grill pop a bit. I like that. Okay, and here is this another Chevy, and it's really cool. It's got the dice, and it's a nice. You know what? I might do a color version of this and a black and white one, and just see which one I like more. So I'll do that with you later. But for now, yes, we're going to lock in our camera profile, and then we're going to boost up the contrast a little bit, really to. Now the highlights in this one are tricky because I don't want to lose all these nice chrome highlights. So I might just push that back up a little bit. Can black up the shadows and then make the blacks a bit more rich there. Let's denoise. And of course, we're going to remove chromatic aberration, and then we're going to enable profile corrections. Of course, that's going to jog the picture as you've seen before. And I don't think we're going to do any blurring on this one. I think we're fine for now. Well, you can do that in Photoshop. And then I'm just going to go back. I forgot. Let's just make the angle. We use this tool again, we did in the last one. Pick out something that you know is horizontal. Make a line between them. It will automatically straight. That's beautiful. And then you lock that in. And just like the last one, when I pull this open in Photoshop, I'm going to get rid of some things like this driver's ticket here. This guy's random leg, which is over here. I might do a little bit more blurry, but that one for now is looking good. Okay, well, I just got caught up there, and so I just went back into this, and so remember I said I was going to do this as a black and white, so let's go through that. So I've opened it up in Photoshop, of course. We'll go to Adjustments, Black and White, and there we go, pretty good off the bat, but let's just do some playing and see what we like. Make the background a little bit brighter to help enhance the front. Oh, that gives everything. That's the sky color. And then the blue is really gonna, what do I want to do here? That'll be a nice, oh, that's that. Okay, and then I'm gonna try putting a tint on it. A little sepia, but that's way too much. Let's drop it down. I like it a little bit more orangey. There. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and then here is this chap. Here's one of the street photography ones. What I liked about this guy was that he's an old school guy. He's hanging out with his vintage car. with a whole bunch of other old boys just kicking it back and enjoying the people looking at his pride, his vehicle. But on the other hand, he's got this cutting edge e-scooter that he's zipping around on in between in the area. So I just love that. So I snapped a picture of him and sort of going past a nice teal Chevy truck there, which I thought was kind of fun. Anyways, let's do the usual, set it to my camera, do the camera faithful, and then we'll, I think the exposure is fine, cut down the highlights a bit, make it a bit deeper. I'm going to increase the vibrance a little bit here so it picks up the teal nicely and the red in his cap. And then let's go to detail, denoise it. All the usual. I should maybe have just done this and then done it in Photoshop. I'm not even showing you this part of it, but I don't know, maybe it's of interest. Removing chromatic aberration, enable the profile corrections for my lens and my camera. And I think that's about it. When I go into Photoshop, I'll probably do some cropping, and I'll probably do I'll play with the color a bit, because I tend to like street photography to have a little tip of the hat towards cinematic. So I might sort of give it a bit of a greenish tint and just sharpen it up and do some other things, but I'll share that with you later. Okay, and then I just opened up this one. Remember this guy, and I did some editing in this one. I added some vignetting around the sides. I changed the color toning a little bit. I sharpened up. I did some sharpening of just the truck and the guy, because it was a bit fuzzy in here, and I think that's turned out all right. Here's this guy. Yeah, I mean, we could maybe do a little bit of extra sharpening in here. Let's pull that over here. Yeah, that's not bad. Happy with that. So yeah, that's a fun. I mean, I think I'm a weird photographer. Let's call it like it is. Like, I like weird things. I think we all have elements of things we like that are kind of weird within our specific practices. And getting close-up detail of stuff that no one cares about, or But yeah, I acknowledge this is weird, but I like it. So thank you to Andrew for that one. Okay, well, once again, thanks to Andrew Banner for his ideas and his channel. Check him out. There's some work on some of those. I'm going to just go through and show you the rest of the day's work. We're just going to cycle through them, and then we'll wrap up. hope you enjoyed checking out some of those images and some of those ideas. So I hope you liked that bunch of pictures. It was a fun day, and always fun to get out there and get snapping. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I don't know what my next one's going to be about, but you'll be the first to know. So I hope to see you on the back on the channel. Love you to share. Love you to click like. It's a really young channel. Getting traction is hard for new content creators. So if you can help out, that would be great. But no pressure. We'll see you next time. Thanks.